What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about Evolve, a new tactics-based shooter by the guys who made Left 4 Dead. Now this game is very interesting, and I've spent about 15 hours with it so far, and I wanted to give you my first impressions of it. In this game, you have 5 people to a lobby. 4 people are hunters, and 1 person is the monster they're hunting. Every level starts with the hunters being airdropped in a jungle, a forest, or a swamp, and forced to hunt down the other player, who is an ever-evolving monster. What really sets this game apart, though, is the absolute die-hard necessity for teamwork. If you are not a fluid functioning team, you are going to get eaten alive by the monster in minutes. There are 4 diverse classes to help you accomplish the task of surviving this challenge. You have the medic, whose job is of course to keep everybody alive and kicking. The support class, who has a variety of abilities to keep people defended, buffed, and invisible whenever the monsters hunted them. The assault class, whose main job is to deal as much damage as possible for the team. And the trapper, whose speciality is finding the monster, tracking him down, and trapping him in a humongous bubble called the mobile arena, so you can focus fire him down before he gets too strong. Each class has its own strengths and weaknesses, which is fun, but the monsters themselves are a different challenge altogether. You have 3 different monsters that you fight against. You have the Goliath, who's pretty much Donkey Kong from your worst nightmares. He's a huge, constantly changing gorilla who can't do any real ranged attacks, but he can charge, he can slam, and he can fuck your day up. The Kraken, he's a shock-tossing long-range monster who has to avoid the trapper at all costs, or else he becomes sushi in a hurry. And the Wraith, the sneaky monster class. He has very little armor, but from the shadows he can tear teams to shreds. As a whole, the game is built with very strong core foundation. Many of the characters and classes are very well fleshed out, and the monsters are hard but beatable, and that's what I love about it. Never has teamwork and voice chat been more absolutely necessary, though. When you are playing on a team with people who do not have headsets, who are just wandering around in the jungle trying to drop traps, you get slaughtered in minutes. But if you're careful, you're tactical, and you call out things properly, you can hunt down the monster in about 15 minutes. One thing they do really well in this game is challenge balancing. That's a term I've never used before, but I'm going to make it up just for this game. When you're dropped into the world, you're thrown out of an airship and you have to find the monster as quickly as possible. Whereas if you are playing the monster, you have to try and sneak around the map and get a bunch of environmental kills as early as possible. You are eating the wildlife, the flora and fauna, and by eating this, you're gaining more evolution points and gaining levels. This creates the ultimate race against time. The hunters have to find him as quick as possible. So you have 2 early game tactics. Split up and find him faster, or stay as a group and be more survivable when you find him. If you are alone when you run into the monster and you're not really prepared, he's gonna kick your ass. Even at level 1, 1 hunter versus the monster doesn't have the slightest chance. But if you're a really well-built team, you can hunt him down early. Playing as a monster during these early delicate moments is so frightening. You need to find things to eat. You have to find little things here and there. A little tiny weird squid spacey thing here, eat it as fast as possible and gain extra armor. Anything you can to defend against the people that are hot on your trail. They can see your footprints, and when you scare birds or any of the wildlife, it'll mark a giant beacon for all the hunters to see. So you gotta sneak, but you also have to feed. You gotta evolve as fast as possible. Playing as the monster, you have 2 ways you can win. You can either kill all the hunters, or you can sneak around, eat a bunch of wildlife, and get up to level 3, which is your maximum evolution form. Then you'll get an extra beacon, which is a reactor. If you go and destroy this reactor, you automatically win. Therefore, the hunters have 2 giant processes that they're trying to worry about. They need to worry about the flora and fauna, the monsters and wildlife that live in the environment, but also the big bad monster played by the enemy character. Each of the characters has all these different little intricate abilities. By far, my favorite is Val. She's one of the medics. Val has 2 primary guns. One that can wound the monster and reduce his armor, making him have extra weak points on his body, and also a gun that slows him down, the Trank Dart. There were so many times when we would find the monster early on, and he was still about level 1, almost level 2, and we'd start really wailing on him, and he'd start jumping from rock to rock, anything he can to get away from the team before the trapper gets his claws into him. And I would snag that perfect Trank shot with Val and see see him slowed to a crawl, and it just felt so good to know his lethargy is because of me, to see him turn and barrel down upon me, to face the monster head to head, to feel his anger was so fun to me. It's such a visceral type of gameplay. The plot in this game pretty much doesn't exist, but what is revealed to us is through little chat tidbits, things that characters say to each other in a really organic, natural way. One of the most recent games I was playing, two of the characters are discussing all the swampy environment we were hunting the monster in, and just kind of noting where they'd grown up and the colonies that had been lost by monsters throughout time. This does it so much better than if we had a movie mode. I mean, in this little subtle thing, you want to listen to it even more closely, instead of just you setting the controller down and having the exposition read to you. Instead, you're hearing it, like real hunters in the jungle. Your adrenaline's pumping, and you're getting a little bit of plot for why you want this monster dead for personal reasons. The game has a lot of things going for it that I really like, but I must admit I don't know if this is worth $60. Something about it, even after spending about 15 hours with it, just didn't quite feel, I don't know, really engaging. There were so many times when I was playing where I had to force myself to continue playing. I had no real glee, no real eager. There would be times when I couldn't find the monster for 7 or 8 solid minutes, where I'd just be walking in a big circle and just trying to find him. And times like that, the game grinds to a painful halt. All the action goes out the window. But on the opposite side of that coin, there are times when the monster was charging me down as the assault class. I'd laid a bunch of perfect landmines, and I got the winning kill. I'm the last man alive, and I managed to landmine the monster to death. Hearing everybody cheer in my ear, holding my arms up in victory, it felt like such a rare kind of glee I get in games. So maybe it's just that the game has such a perfect pacing that sometimes you need slow to have fast. But it still felt a little bit jarring to me. It seems like there's a missing middle segment. There needs to be something between blindingly fast and painfully slow. Maybe some way we can level up. Maybe something we can do with our guns besides just carry them around and try and find the monster. But this has just been my first impressions. I will be doing a full review when this game comes out in early February. If you like this, like, comment, share, and subscribe. But as always, guys, keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, maybe check out my last video. Please subscribe, and if you want, share this somewhere with your friends.